Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Tiffany Benson, one part of Team Benson, and today I'm going to give you guys a garden tour of what's going on and what is starting in my monsoon garden. Alright guys, so first I would like to say big welcome to all of our new subscribers. We are getting close to our next 1,500 subscriber marks, so I am really excited about that. For those of you guys that are new, I'm Tiffany and I grow a garden here in the Phoenix, Arizona desert. And it is zone 9B. So I like to have organic gardening practices, and I try and work with the ecosystem of the desert as much as I can in order to grow a successful garden for myself and also just for, the ecosystem and my family. So I want to give you guys a garden tour. Right now I have my monsoon garden where some things are going and they're producing, and then I have a lot of things that are starting. So we have a lot of plants that are starting to get their true leaves. So I want to show you guys what I got. Now my summer garden did pretty well. My spring garden did amazing, and my garden last year did amazing, really amazing. Spring garden did pretty good. My summer garden was going really well until I got some plant starts from Home Depot, and they introduced spider mites to my garden. So it caused a lot of damage in my garden, and it made things produce a lot slower. So where I would get normally around 20 cucumbers or 30 cucumbers, I only got about 15 cucumbers before I had to pull the plant. My okra in the back there is struggling. I'll give you guys a close-up of that, but it's producing. But normally I would have okra that are the size of trees, and now they're stunted and they're producing maybe one or two every other day, where they used to be last year at this time they were producing pretty much morning and night. I was picking okra. So this year I have promised myself I'm not going to be lazy, and I'm just going to do my starts inside because I want to have a healthy garden, and I feel like during times like this it's really important to have a healthy garden and making sure you're knowing what's going on in your plant and what's going on with your plants. Now I do love to buy starts because a lot of times I like to try something before having a ton of seeds or something like that to know if I really like it or how it grows here in Arizona, because sometimes it could be 100% this is great, and then sometimes we struggle. So I like to try things out, but this year I don't know what was going on, but it was really hard getting starts from Home Depot. They were a lot of pests, and it wasn't just me either. I joined a couple of different Facebook gardening groups and saw that a lot of people were having issues too. So I encourage you guys to get some seeds and start some plants inside. It's quite easy to do. You just need a little bit of space, put some grow lights, and I have videos on how I start my seeds, so I'll show you guys. I'll link them somewhere here so that you guys can find those. But it's easy to do. It's just, it takes time. But with all things, if you put the time and effort into it, it'll grow something amazing. Like my black eyed peas! So guys, look at this. Absolutely amazing. I have a little bit of, if you look right here, this is actually not sun skull. There is a little bit of sun skull right here so that you can see the difference. This is actually from the water. This is the water getting onto the plants and then drying, and there's calcium and salt in our Arizona water, and you can see it a little bit more back there, and that'll do that to you guys' leaves. So don't think that they're a disease. Just try really hard to water at the base of your plants. But these are all of my black eyed peas, and as you can see, they're really healthy. They're really holding up to this Arizona sun. So I've been really excited and impressed by that. Now my corn I've already pulled, and I was going to plant new corn in there, but I really want my big giant pumpkins, and I don't want to put anything else in this bed. I do have the little sage plant over there, but I don't want to put anything else in this bed because I don't want to not have at least 2 pumpkins. And it's funny because I planted so many seeds in here and they just weren't coming up, and now you can see there's a middle one right there, which is the one I wanted to come up, is now starting to pop up. So it looks like I'm gonna have to start thinning some of the seeds. Now my question for you guys is, should I keep pumpkin number 1 or pumpkin number 2? Or option number 3 and keep both of them. Like I said, I'm going to keep this bed empty so that then it'll have enough room to grow out. Now, some herbs that I have going in here, which these ones are in pots, I have the oregano, and then I also have thyme that are doing pretty well. I've been keeping them underneath the shade cloth. And then I have my sage, which is doing okay. It got a little burnt up yesterday, but it's doing pretty good all in all. So I have never grown a pumpkin before, and I didn't go with a typical small pumpkin, which is probably what you should do if you have a small space garden, like a sugar pie pumpkin or something like that. I went for a full-on jack-o'-lantern pumpkin because I want at least 2 that we can carve and get pumpkin seeds from and have it be an amazing Halloween. So, but I'm not really sure if it's gonna be enough space to grow a giant pumpkin. So we'll have to wait and see. I had the garden space to be able to try it out. I could have gone for more okra, which would have been great. I could have always used some more okra, but instead I decided to try something new. And when you're gardening and it's like 100 degrees outside, you need to have something fun in your garden that you're looking forward to, because it's really hot, guys. Like, we're pushing 116 degrees every single day, like hot. So there needs to be some fun. Now over here, there are 2 plants that don't mind the heat, and that is my eggplant and also my shishito peppers. So my eggplant, this is the one that I had rescued and I've been working with, and as you can see, it's growing in nicely, not bothered by the sun at all. This is my eggplant that I repotted. I've had this eggplant for going on 2 years now. It's one of the first plants I purchased, and it's been going really, really well. Both of these are Ichabod eggplants, and I love Ichabod eggplants. So summertime, those will hold up great and they'll last you guys all year long. Now my shishito peppers, I had pruned these back, and as you guys can see, they're already growing more leaves and also growing more little baby buds. And this one is actually, this is going to be a shishito already. So they're already growing peppers. So pruning your plant, guys, does wonders for it. This plant originally got so much hail damage when the hailstorm came in and it destroyed it. I pruned it all the way back. It grew and gave me a ton of shishito peppers. I mean, like, each plant gave me anywhere between 25 to 30 shishito peppers. And that's even with like all of the hail damage from last year and everything. But when they started producing a little funky, that's when I trimmed them all back, let them regrow, and now they're producing more flowers and everything's gonna be good. So another thing I'm trying new are my lettuce leaf basil, which I think this is like the coolest looking little basil plant. So I'm excited to try it. If you guys have tried lettuce leaf basil, let me know what you think. So in the Benson house, we love basil. Like, when it's basil season, we're all for it. We don't actually make pesto with our basil, which is what people typically do. We don't like pesto, we like chimichurri, which is made with parsley, so we do grow a lot of parsley for that. But we love just fresh basil, just eating it off the leaf, putting it in a salad, or also just taking a layer of tomatoes with a layer of mozzarella cheese with a couple leaves of basil and putting some balsamic over it. That is literally like a game changer, and that's what we eat pretty much all summer long. So trying out new basils, which we tried out the cinnamon one earlier this year, which didn't taste like anything other than basil. Maybe a little bit of a spicier basil, but it didn't taste like cinnamon. And then now we're trying out the lettuce leaf basil. So if there are any other basils that you think we should try, we've also tried like a lemon or lime basil too, which had a little bit of a kick, but not really. So if there's any other basils you guys think we should try, put them down in the comments, because we are a basil household. One of my other plants I've had forever, this is one of my original plants when I started my garden, so probably around like almost 2.5, 3 years old, is this rosemary plant. And I cut it back every single year, and it's just been growing every single year. In the spring, early in the spring, it'll get like a little white fungus or something on it where it kind of dies back, but then it just comes right back in, and it's amazing. This is my favorite plant to water because it smells so great. Now I did take a leap of faith, and I've got a bell pepper plant that I got from Lowe's. I thought I would try them. I struggle with starting pepper plants, so typically I buy my bell pepper plants, and I bought 3 of them, and I'm able to keep 2. One of them was just never recovered. Now I have my long beans over here. As you can see, this one has the water spots on it too as well. Our water, guys, this is why we don't drink tap water, because look at that. That's like a whole layer of something just on your plants, which is very unsettling. So these are going to be my scarlet red noodle beans. So I have them going here, and they're doing pretty well. I have this bed empty that I'm resting here in the middle. And then over here, I have some acorn squash that I'm really excited about. This was sent to us by one of our amazing subscribers, and I'm so excited to grow this because I do like acorn squash during the fall. Now, speaking of amazing gardening friends, my friend, There She Grows, this is her Instagram, make sure you guys go check her out, sent me some red currant squash. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I did look it up and saw that people are successfully growing these in Arizona. It's a winter squash, and it's a red winter squash. Now, I love having color in my garden. I love growing everything that is a different color than what it's supposed to grow. I have like a silvery grayish zucchini. I have purple green beans, red green beans, any type of color that I can find that's out of the ordinary of what you can grow in a grocery store. I love to grow in my garden because I like to shock and awe people. So thank you so much. Like I said, guys, go to Instagram, check out There She Grows. I'm actually going to rip out some of my bean plants in order to plant these because I'm so excited and I want to see what they look like and have them in my fall garden. So stay tuned for those. Okay guys, so way in the back there, those 2 little starts, I started those inside. Those are my Armenian cucumbers. As you guys remember, I used to have a midget cantaloupe here and a Armenian cucumber here. I did tear those both out just because they were at the end of their life. They were good, and I wanted to start some fresh ones. So those ones are gonna do really well this fall, fingers crossed, and then the acorn squash is on the other side. Now, what's been disappointing me is my okra, guys. My okra has been through the ringer this year with pests. The okra leaves are just really not healthy. They are producing like every other day or every other 2 days they produce something, but they're very stunted. Like that one is just had to take off a bunch of leaves. The leaves don't feel really healthy. I'm still fighting spider mites on them. So I actually think that I'm gonna go ahead and just pull these because I don't want them to do anything to the starts, and there's still time for me to grow okra. So I'm gonna start some okra inside and then replace these okra plants. That will give me enough okra and produce enough so that then I'm not sad when I have to take them out before putting in my broccoli, which is what is gonna go in here next at the end of pretty much like the beginning of the fall. And see, this is one of my okra plants that has not been affected by anything because it wasn't in the bed with these ones. And as you can see, look at the difference of the leaves, guys. These ones are nice and big. I don't want to touch this one because I just touched the other one, but they're nice big leaves and they're just really healthy, no discoloration, and it's very tall. And this one is about 3 weeks younger than these plants. And as you can see, look at these ones, guys. Like the leaves aren't filling out. It's just really struggling and not having a good time with life. So these are coming out. I'm gonna depend on this one for a little bit to give me some gumbo, and then while I wait for the other ones to come in nice and healthy. So this summer was really hard for pests in my garden. Most of my garden actually did really well. All of my cucumbers did amazing. It actually was just that bed, which made me so sad because, as you know, Sarah could attest to you guys, my broccoli plants were amazing and they produced pretty much all winter, all spring. I just got a ton of broccoli off of it. My cabbages did well. My cilantro did amazing in that bed. So when I planted my okra in there, I was like, let's go. We're gonna have okra forever. And it was going that way. Like, it was going amazing. And then I got spider mites. And it turned into that. So, you know, I want to encourage you guys that when you have long growing seasons, don't struggle so much with the plants. just replant them. One okra pod will give me enough seeds for me to plant 30 okra plants. So instead of struggling with those plants and getting slow producing and allowing those spider mites to then spread, tear them up. You know, like I've gotten those plants to a point to where I was like, okay, I'm gonna get the last bit of them off, and I did. Probably got like another 7 or 8 okra off of them, and then I was done. I'm like, okay, I got the last ones. Now it's time for them to come up, because there's still time for me to grow more amazing okra, and this time have amazing okra that is healthy and make sure my bed is healthy. And that's more important, guys, because you want to constantly have enough food growing to where there's always something that you can pick and eat. So don't struggle so much, especially if you have long growing seasons. Don't struggle so much with trying to keep a sick plant healthy, because once it's sick, and it's going to be hard to really, really recover from that. Now, I did just plant a new sugar baby watermelon. My sugar baby did not do anything last year. It kind of stunted and then just didn't do anything. So I'm hoping that this one will give me at least one. So where I am pulling up these ones, I'm going to pull this one up, and then I'm actually just going to take that one, transplant it over where the other noodle beans are, and I'm going to plant the red curry squash over here. Now this one I planted at the wrong time, so it got eaten up, and actually the one next to it got decapitated. So with that said, I'm just gonna go ahead and pull these up. I have noodle beans somewhere else in my beds, so I will be getting noodle beans, and I think it'll be great to grow something different over here instead of having more noodle beans. I planted some extra plants just in case, and so these are just the extras anyway. Now over here is my worm bin. I wanted to give you guys just a little update on it. Now let's grab a shovel or something that I can dig in here to show you guys kind of what's going on. So I put layers of things, and as you can see, there are a ton of worms. Like, there are so many worms in here. If you guys are struggling with having worms in your bed, we're going to cover them back up so they can continue to do their job. If you guys are struggling with having worms in your bed or not having enough worms in your bed, put yourself in an in-ground worm bin. Now, as I told you guys before, when I first started my garden, I had 0 worms in my garden, and trying to have a no-dig garden with 0 worms was pretty much impossible. And the worms don't just appear out of nowhere. At least here in Arizona, I live on a dry dirt mountain, so they don't just appear. So I had to actually go get worms and put in my garden, and keeping them alive, especially when it's 115, 116, 120 degrees, is quite difficult. So having that in-ground worm bin is actually making such a world of a difference for my garden. If you dig anywhere in my beds, and I mean even in the pots, because I sometimes dig up the soil and put a little bit in the pots too to kind of keep it healthy, it's almost like looking at worm castings anywhere in my bed, and there's tons of worms everywhere in my beds, which is doing amazing things for my soil because it's keeping it aerated and it's keeping it healthy. I was watching a Charles Downing video, and he was saying that if we don't grow plants, we grow the soil, and the soil just naturally grows the plants. And I was like, that's so true, because if you don't have healthy soil, you don't have healthy plants. So if you're having a horrible time keeping your soil healthy and you don't see any worms in your beds, then put a little in-bed worm bin, and it helps you get rid of waste. All of my kitchen waste no longer goes in the trash can. I put it right there in that bed, and they just eat it, decompose it, and it's done. So my trash can, which has to sit in my garage, no longer smells like rotting vegetables or rotting fruit, because I just throw it all in there. So I know a lot of people are probably waiting for this update, but these are my poblano pepper plants. Now this one has been toppled over, it's been stepped on, it's been through some stuff. I just had to prune it back again because the shade cloth blew off on this one, so it got burnt up again. But as you can see, guys, it's still growing back. It's still like, no worries, you can keep pruning me, and I'll just keep growing back. And this one, where when I topped it, everybody was like, no, what are you doing? It is growing back. Like, the leaves now look all healthy. There are no worms on it. There's no spots on my leaves. and just new leaves are just coming out. And now this is from where I topped it at. So I topped it here, guys. This is right now a new patch of leaves and branches that are coming out. So don't be afraid, prune your pepper plants, keep them healthy. It's better to have a healthy pepper plant that you're growing than having a sick pepper plant that is getting attacked and eaten and by everything. And then lastly, I did purchase this just because I found it, guys. It was a really good deal and it was really healthy. So I have some cherry tomatoes on here, if you guys can see in there. I have a couple cherry tomatoes that I'm looking forward to growing some of those and eating them. Now, if you guys watch my channel regularly, you'll see that a couple of days ago, maybe like a couple weeks ago, I put up a video about growing your own medicine. This is something that is extremely important to me because I really don't want my family in the hospital for minor things, like not even just considering the virus that's going around now, but what happens if you have just a common cold or an asthma attack or a really bad burn or something like that, which are things that happen in my household all the time. I want to be able to treat those things at home. So I am doing videos on different types of herbs that I keep in my medicinal herb cabinet, and that way I can hopefully help you guys. Once again, I'm not a certified herbalist. This is just something that I have learned over the years that have been passed out through my family, and also I did study medicine in college too as well and practiced for a little bit. So I do have some knowledge of Western medicine and then also some knowledge of natural medicine too as well. But I am not saying this as a medical professional, I'm saying this as a YouTuber. So make sure you guys do your research because there are all different types of things that if you're on medications, they can kind of, you know, mess with the different herbs that you might take. But I do want to encourage you guys to grow your own medicine because you want to always have something to help your family and protect your family that is readily available to you. And growing it in your garden, taking out a little bit of space and growing that stuff is going to be really important, and it's going to be really good to have just on hand. So I'm taking a space out of my garden. I'm building a new little bed, which I know you guys are probably like, Tiffany, where? But I'm building a new little bed that is going to be dedicated to growing all of my flowers and herbs and just medication. So this is going to be that space. So if you guys remember, this is where I had my Mighty Crop at right here, which if you guys haven't got your Mighty Crop, make sure you get one. I will link it down below. Use our promo code for 10% off. But this bed is full of worms, and I'm going to take this bed all the way over to here, and I'm going to box it out and then put some dirt in it, put some compost in it, and just grow all of the medicinal herbs right there. But as you guys can see, here in Arizona, this is what our regular dirt looks like. So it's hard as a rock. I'm pushing as hard as I can, and it's not going anywhere. So, you know, you have to really create something, because if I dig down in here, this goes all the way down in, guys, because I've really been working on putting a lot of compost and getting this soil healthy. So this is one of the reasons why we have raised garden beds here in Arizona, or at least I do. Now this is a pepper plant that I got from Lowe's with the other one, and this one's doing pretty well. I had to prune it way back, but we'll see how this one grows. Now over here, I have my new midget cantaloupes growing. So these ones are growing in. The pepper plant that was here, I noticed that it had a lot of damage to it, and I also noticed I started getting damage right here on my cantaloupe, so I pulled it up because I'd rather not damage my cantaloupe because I love cantaloupe. So my midget cantaloupes are growing here, and I will put something in here a little bit later on, but they will grow up this trellis nicely. Now back here, guys, for some reason, my jalapenos do horribly during the summer. And I can't say that it's the shade cloth's fault, because right back there is the cayenne pepper doing amazing. The cayenne pepper has buds all over it, and it's going really great. But my jalapenos are one pepper plant that I haven't been able to take year round. My poblano peppers go year round, my shishito peppers go year round, but jalapeno plants are ones that I plant every single year. So one thing I want to show you guys real quick before I get done with the video is that for those of you guys that want to know how hot it is in Arizona, if you guys watched my video about my Dollar Tree planter boxes, I put wheels on the bottom of them so I could roll them around. And I used E6000. It's so hot in Arizona that they melted off. E6000, guys, which is supposed to last on everything and supposed to bind everything, melted off in the Arizona sun. So all of these plants back here get a round of applause in my book. But I hope this garden tour was fun for you guys. I hope you guys are planting your gardens, and I hope you guys are excited about your monsoon gardens that are coming in. And don't forget, grow yourself a garden, because even a small space can provide you with tons of food. Bye guys.